good there.
Should be good, yeah.
Hey?
Should be good there.
Okay.
Hey everyone, we're at the Canadian Forces Base Board and Military Museum today. Frank, you called me out today saying there was a surprise going on, and when I got here, this thing was blocking the road. Can you tell me what's going on today?
So about 3 months ago, we pulled our AVGP Husky off of the concrete pad I've been sitting on for anywhere from 10 to 15 years as a monument. If you follow us on Facebook, you know I did a behind the scenes segment on the Husky when I opened it up and found that the pack and everything else was still in it and that it was a good candidate to get running again. So that's part of what we're doing today. We've already opened up the vehicle and freed up a lot of stuff that was seized from sitting. The vehicle's fueled up, oiled up. We've already had it running on ether. We're just dealing with some fuel system issues right now for the fuel to flow, and then the vehicle should be running on its own.
Excellent. So can you tell us a bit about where the vehicle came from itself?
This particular vehicle spent most of its life at the base board and REME school. It was there as a training aid for the students to learn on and be used by them. Other than that, there isn't a lot of history on the vehicle as to deployments and things like that. It's not like some of our other vehicles are.
I see. Well, let's cut to the action then, because this is the middle of the day.
Yes.
Okay. Catch you guys later.
Okay.
Are we good to disconnect the lines?
He can just shut down, we'll be fine.
You want to pump a little extra oil in the line or not?
I think let's try cranking it over the fuel off.
Okay.
And see what happens, and we should be able to get her going.
Just to give a little bit extra.
Yeah.
You hold there.
So far.
Because that one's got the leak.
Yep.
If we unhook both of these ends at the same time.
Yeah.
So that I'm not bleeding all my air.
Yeah, okay.
You.
Yeah.
Someone mind grab
Someone.
that air hose there.
And here goes there.
We'll unhook at the same time.
Yeah, they're gonna just wait. We're gonna do it at the same time because they're both open.
Let me know when you're ready.
We're ready.
Okay.
1, 2,
1.
go. Take that valve out of there.
Take the coupling off.
The coupling. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Oops.
Wrong
We took the line off the coupling. Like, that doesn't sound right. That's all right.
So Fred, you've been doing a heck of a lot of work on the vehicle. Can you just tell me about what you've got set up right now and why the engine bay is exposed?
Well, right now is the initial time we're trying to get it running. So we've added the fluids to it. Everything's where it levels it's supposed to be. We got to crank it over. So now we want to try and see if we can get it to start. Because it's been sitting for a while. These ones in particular are notorious for running away if the governor's sticking a little bit inside because nothing's quite right. So in order to prevent any damage to the engine, since your runaway is just getting more fuel than it needs, it goes to a full fuel position in the governor and it just starts screaming at a very high RPM. You can shut the fuel off, but because it's diesel, once it gets cranked up that fast, it'll literally draw the oil out of the crankshaft and burn it. So the only way we can shut it down is by taking the air away from the engine. So we have our little board here that basically normally aspirated. The air cleaner is here. It would bring the air in through the turbocharger driven by the exhaust, which then feeds air into the top of the engine where the blower is. The blower compresses it and pushes it into the engine to fire. In order to stop it, we just take the board, we put it over top of the mouth of the blower, and then that would stop the air from actually getting into the engine. That's the best place. If you're doing it on a hose or something else, they have a capacity that will actually suck them in, crush them, and then leak past them. They'll just keep burning. So right now, till we get it fired up, we know it's running properly. The governor is working properly. We keep our chicken board handy just in case things go a little strange on us.
Fred, before you start it up, do you want to walk us through what you got to do?
All right, we have the master switch, which turns the batteries on and connects them to ground. So then we have power, ignition switch, Turn the ignition on, and then the start button, which engages the thing. Up here, of course, make sure it's in neutral.
You hearing any pumping?
And the fuel shut off is pushed in, so that we will allow the fuel to go. Are we ready up there, today, Frank?
You want me to squirt?
Yeah, once I'm rolling.
Yeah, you tell me when you want to go.
Here it touch.
Nope. Okay, go.
Something going on with fuel.
Alright, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, 70 milliohms. 75 milliohms right now.
All right, so we're right now we've discovered there's no power getting to the fuel pump, electric fuel pump down below inside, so it's not pushing the fuel up to the engine itself. So right now we're trying to figure out a way that we can just bypass the system using just a jumper wire from a known power source that's good straight to the fuel pump to see if we can get it to run. If it does run, then we can use that to prime the engine, prime the fuel system. If it doesn't run, then we have to dig into the fuel pump itself and see what's going on with it and why it's not actually working.
Just trying to make a jumper cable for the fuel pump so we can take power from the different source.
There we go.
All right, cool.
To go. Oh, I feel her moving right now.
We have power at the pump.
Is it making noise?
The pump's
Yeah.
making noises.
Yeehaw.
Rotating.
There we go. So basically this is just a power supply for this light. Has 24 volts with this wire connected to the actual fuel pump. It's grounded to the frame. When we plug this one in there, the fuel pump operates. That's all we're after. So now we should be able to push the fuel up here, get it going. And we'll give her another shot, see if it goes once we're ready.
Do you want me to hold it there, or does it?
There
Oh,
you go, you're good.
there we go.
That one neat. Stops off. Master switch, ignition. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
One more time. One more time. Yeah, it's return line.
So what order do we want to do this? Do we want extra fuel in? Do we want to crack that and run the electric pump and see are we getting anything right now? Or
Let's crack it, see if we're getting anything. Because if not, then we're going to dump fuel in anyways and just carry on with what we're doing.
Yeah.
So what we have now is from the pump, we get the pump working. The pump pumps the fuel through the primary filter here. From here, it goes up to the back of the engine where the mechanical fuel pump is. The mechanical fuel pump pumps back down to the secondary fuel filter, and then from the secondary fuel filter out to the engine into the injectors. So the plan right now is trying to make sure we get all the air out between the fuel tank and the secondary filter, and that way then we've primed the primary, and we've also primed the mechanical fuel pump. So once that system is primed, then it's pushing fuel. It's not trying to pull the fuel up to the other filters and that. So hopefully, by taking out this one plug, we'll be able to just bleed this system and run the pump goes over the hell. It'd be nice. Right there, left Lucy.
Well, what we're doing is trying to make sure that we have sufficient fuel in the system, so that the electric pump can get everything pushed through. Because, well, we've got the jumper in there for the electric pump, and it is functioning now. We still didn't seem to have any fuel supply, so we're making sure that we've got enough in the tank so that we've ruled out that as part of the problem, and then we'll try the electric pump again and see what we get. Hopefully we get it pumping some fuel and this thing can start to run on its own for the first time in years.
Nothing yet. Yeah, get some now.
You are?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want me to stop?
Yes, give me a second. Alright, stop her now. Yep.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's good. No, she can get her now. She was providing fuel.
Good.
That's what I needed to see. So that's because when I said, "Oh," I heard a little
Okay.
there. I thought that's so I wasn't sure of that, but it sounded like it was coming from back in here, like a little bubble there.
Okay.
Popped out there.
So do you want me to run it for another little bit? Or
Let me tighten up the filter,
okay.
and then we can.
You getting something?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm in a mess, so that's good. That was what I wanted to happen. It's all about that mess. Clear.
Clear.
Quite yet.
I'm out.
You're out? Okay.
Because you think there might not be maybe some electrical issues with the injectors themselves?
No, there is
It's all
mechanical.
It's all mechanical.
Yeah, it's all mechanical. And they're functioning because we pulled the covers off. That's what we're looking at, just to make sure everything's functioning.
Okay, so which ones are the fucking fuel ones?
Yep.
think we need to crack something on
Yeah.
the return and see what the hell's going on.
Can I see that one? Right there.
Yeah.
It's coming off the pump, or off the filter. So that one should be an inlet to the filter. That one should be coming out of the filter. Should run them up into the T up in there.
Because it'll push all the air out.
That's in the perfect world.
Yeah.
Where a
Well,
vehicle
why
has
would it-
been sitting for 15, 17 years.
What makes it different now? If it's grabbing fuel and pushing it, and it was able to push it
We were getting
to there,
fuel coming out of there.
Are
Then
there
it-
any check valves in the system that might be stuck?
so there is a restricted fitting at the end
In on the outlet.
in order to
Maintains pressure.
maintain yeah.
Yeah.
Head. But I'm hearing fuel go back,
Return line.
bubbling in the return line. In the tank.
Maybe it's still blowing air through.
It potentially could be. There could still be some air in there that's running through.
Well, so when did you hear that?
When I fired it up, when I was running it,
Well, I even heard it the
Just
first
the-
time. though.
ju- just
when
the electric pump
when
itself.
the pump's running, yeah,
Okay.
we're getting bubbles.
So all I could hear was the pump. Certainly, and that was before we seemed to have sufficient fuel supply to push.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So now that we pushed it this far, why aren't we firing yet?
At least getting a pump or something.
There's still no fuel going through the.
Yeah, we're not getting any fuel coming out the
There's
exhaust.
nothing.
And with that ether running it on there, it should be getting at least a bit of smoke or something going, trying to pop a little bit.
check the oil. Take a good whiff. Nothing? Huh? Or is there something there?
No, we're low. So it's not overfilled.
I'll get you some oil.
Snug up.
We would have at least one or two of them that are pushing some fuel through, so we should be getting some bit of smoke coming out of it, at least when it's trying.
Like it was clean underneath, so
Yeah.
there was no sign of rust or anything,
No.
so I don't
No.
think there's any issue like
So
that.
yeah, I think it's just let's see if we can find a return line that we can get access to. Take it off and have a look, see what we got.
Those Belleville washers? They're just stacked up on their ones. Okay, so. Come on out.
There we are. All right. Good. That's why now she'll leak there now. Now you got it broke free.
Okay.
When you're ready, let me know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yep.
No, sir. There's our problem. Fuel is not moving.
Shooting.
We're gonna go to the first filter, crack the line. Is the pump pushing you there? Do we actually have good flow from the pump? Yes, okay. Go to the next one and go to the next one and work our way down through the whole system.
Yeah.
Till we find out where the blockage is. And then we'll get access, we'll get the manuals showing us where the stuff is and the different checks we can do along the line.
Yep.
And then just go from there, because it could even be the mechanical pumps. Yeah. Cropped it.
Yeah, it might be. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just stuck.
Yeah, it could be just about anything, but we're just gonna have to do that. I mean, everything is in place for the fuel to flow, but it's just, okay, somewhere that fuel is being
Is there a
blocked.
check valve in the mechanical pump?
I don't believe so. If it is, it'd be a return check valve, so it wouldn't be a... So I think right now we're better off just put it away,
Yeah.
take a break, we'll get the manuals out, we'll start going through the manuals, and they
Sleep
give
on
us
it.
checks and, figure out what exactly we're doing, and then go from there.
Sleep on it and think on it.
And once we get the fuel flowing where we're getting it out of this line, then we're good. But you may want to just snug that line up so we don't end up with gravity feeding the mess. That's,
Yeah.
Then it's all closed up. Yeah.
So what did you just do, Fred?
Because we don't have any power to the one in the back, the air tank's drained down. The park brakes and these are spring applied, but they're released. So once, because the drive shafts are all hooked up, there's no air in it right now, so the spark brake is applied. So we have to use this tank when we run this one. It'll also charge the air tanks of the other one, and then they'll allow us to release the park brake using the air to override the spring pressure on it. When we're
There you go.
Very nice.
So that was a very long day, Colin. Heck, a lot of work done. The vehicle was backed in to the hangar by a Detroit diesel. Unfortunately, not its own.
Right.
So what's the next step? And if you want to just give us a wrap up of the day.
So certainly today, a bit frustrating. We were hoping to be able to fire it up on its own, and that didn't take place. The engine is certainly capable of running on ether, but we were not able to get it to fire on its own fuel. It appears that the last testing that we did before we gave up for the day was that the electric pump is running now with a feeder with a jumper wire, so we'll have to diagnose what is going on with the proper wire for the electric fuel pump. The fuel pump was able to push fuel as far as the secondary filter, but once we disconnected the return line from the engine to the tank, it was not pushing any fuel out there. So it appears that we've got some sort of blockage in the fuel system that was preventing the pump from getting fuel to the injectors. Therefore, there's probably some sort of big air bubble in the system and it's sort of sealed in there, and when we were pushing fuel, it wasn't actually getting through. So that is certainly the next steps, is get into the fuel system and trace it all the way through and ensure that get it to the point that it's free running, and so that we can actually get fuel to the engine, and then it should be able to fire on its own.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for that, Colin, and I'm sure in the following videos we will get this thing running.
Right on.